Hello, welcome back to Only Pistols. Today we're having a look at a Walther LP3. Let's start by looking at the markings on it. So on this side of the barrel, Walther banner, LP Model 3 and Col Walther Ulm for the production site. On this side you've got the serial number and the F in a pentagram indicating it's a low pressure air weapon for the German market. And those are the only markings is on the barrel itself. There's no markings on the receiver. The rear sight is marked for windage and elevation, and they're click adjustable. You need a screwdriver to adjust the rear sights. These are the same sights you'll find on the cartridge pistols of this time, so the OSP and GSP. A very good sight for its time. You also get an interchangeable rear leaf, so those just pop off. Let's get it to focus on it. So those, the rear sight leaf there just pops up off, and you've got a range of sight leaves that can be just clipped in place. So very easy to change. Good sight picture as well. Foresight is just a standard post undercut and screwed on, so you can get a range of front sights as well, and a bit of ribbing on there just to cut down on the glare. While we're here, the muzzle, you see it's a rifled steel barrel, and then the muzzle itself is countersunk back to the crown, about a centimetre deep there. It doesn't do anything like airstripping or anything, it's just a recessed muzzle, protect it presumably. Construction, rifled steel barrel as I said, and that's then held within this cast aluminium cover, which is very nicely profiled as you can see, and a holdover from the LP2. The frame is cast aluminium as well, and the trigger is steel, and the cocking lever is cast aluminium again. So the finish on these is a phosphating type finish on the barrel for the smooth and the cocking lever, and then the main frame has got a crinkle finish paint finish to it, which if you use it a long time you get that bit's worn a bit smooth. Anyway, trigger is adjustable two-stage trigger, and you've also then got a trigger stop there which is adjusted through the bottom there with a hex drive, so that's really good. And adjusting the trigger for its weight, you open the barrel up, so this screw here, if you adjust that screw, what it does is, this is the spring that controls the weight of the trigger, and by adjusting that screw it moves the point of contact for the spring up and down. So it's a very simple system, but works very well. So if you just see that moving, and you can just see it moving the spring. So it's not adjustable for sear, but you're adjusting the weight by the amount of pretension you're putting on that spring via that screw. And again, that's something that's held over from the LP2. A very good trigger, and for its time it was noted to be a good trigger. The grip is a two-piece hardwood grip screwed onto either side, and actually surprisingly good, because although it hasn't got an adjustable palm shelf, that angle there actually does a very good job of giving you just enough palm support to mean that this is a very good grip, and with a nice thumb rest as well. It was a very good grip for its time. Can't really adjust it much more than it is because you've got the compression tube, as we'll see later, kind of running up through the middle of it. So single stroke pneumatic, how does it work? Hold it in your firing hand and you literally pull that lever away, pull that down, and what that's doing is pulling the piston down in the cylinder and also cocking the hammer. So having got that down, you then close it back round against the trigger guard. So that's it. Now you've got a charge of air compressed between the top of the piston and the valve. To load it, push that lever to open the barrel, and literally seat a pellet into the bore, close it up, and take up the first stage, and it fires. So it's very simple. It's not the most ergonomic, and it's quite a short throw, so it's quite a lot of effort to close it. But it's a low pad target pistol, so it's all right. It was noted at the time that, yeah, it isn't that great, and if you're doing a full match, it does get a bit tiring. So single stroke pneumatic, I think probably with this one, it's actually worth taking the grips off to actually see how this thing works, because it's very good, and it's the system of cocking the pistol or charging the air to the pistol continued right the way through the LP2 and the LP3. So excuse this one's had a replacement at some point from a screw to a hex head bolt, and so normally that should be a slot headed screw. So while we're here, you can see the inside of the grips are very heavily shaped to go around the compression cylinder. So there you have it in its naked form, the LP2. So LP2, LP3 from this point down look exactly the same. The difference between the two is the valve, which we'll touch on in a second. So when you cock it, you're opening the lever up, and the lever pulls the piston down. And if you watch this here, that's the hammer weight. So as I pull that round, I'll try and do it without jerking it too much. That last bit, you are just pulling the hammer down. So that's now cocked. So if I close that up just slightly, you'll be able to see that. So when you push the trigger, that then just goes. So that's the hammer striking up. What else have you got going on in here? You've got an eccentric cam pin at the bottom, so you can adjust the amount of contact you get between the top of the piston and the top of the cylinder. So there you go. So there's the bottom of the piston. This one's aluminium, and it's got a parachute style seal on the top. So you're adjusting the cam to how much that goes up and down. This is the compression cylinder, and this is steel, and it's held in to the action by these two screws at the top. And again, those are the same across the LP2 and the LP3s as well. So where does it make the difference between the LP2 and the LP3 other than the sights, which are different? And the difference is in the valve, which is under here. Now, on the earlier LP2, what you had was a big cover here and then just a poppet valve with O-rings. What you get on the LP3 is actually, that's the front of the valve here. So you have to take this screw out first, then this screw back here, and that's the screw that's actually holding the valve in itself. So all of the valve comes out. This was meant to be a leap forward, an improvement. I'll just close that up without the valve, without the handle on. You have to be quite up. So you can see the action of the lever as it's just pushing the valve up, and that last bit as it goes over is just compressing the last bit of air. So again, just watch the hammer. So that's the link to the hammer. Spring in this little cage here, which is just a friction fit, and then the hammer itself is there. So just watch, and that's it. So the difference in the valve, so the LP2 was straightforward. The hammer went up, knocked the poppet valve up, and that just was a valve with O-rings on it, and that released the air into the bore. With the LP3, what you've got is a much more complicated arrangement of housing the ball bearing valve. So the ball bearing is what is holding the air back, and then when the hammer comes up, it's hitting what looks like a dumbbell. And so what that's doing is, as that gets struck up, it's knocking the ball bearing back, which releases the air. In theory, this was a better mousetrap and provided a faster lock time. Actually, what it tended to do, it might have been faster. I'm not really sure. I can't really tell the difference between the two I've got, so it might be faster, I don't know. But what it certainly is more fragile, and you'll find a lot of LP3s, if they're not working when you pick them up, they're going to need work on the valve, and spare parts are not available. It had a spacer in it that was plastic, so obviously being plastic, it's turned to mush along with everything else in there, and finding the spares is very difficult. So they're a brilliant pistol. The valve on the LP3 was a better mousetrap, but a lot more fragile. I've worked out a repair system for these, but it is very individual, and getting spare parts is quite difficult. So that's how it works. It's a knock open valve, but instead of it being a vertical knock open to allow the air up further and round, the air is already directly behind the ball valve, so it's directly in line. So when the dumbbell goes up and just pushes that ball bearing back, the air is released directly into the ball. Better? I don't know. Certainly more fragile and harder to work on. Anyway, that's a bit about the inside of it. Accuracy wise, yeah, it's accurate. Probably not as good as today, and you can obviously see, even using good quality targets, the power is quite low. So typically kind of 350 to 400 feet per second. I think this one's kind of doing about the 380. Really, to get a good cut sight, a good cut mark on a target, you need to be looking at 400 plus. So that's just that raggedness just indicates it's not really going that fast. But at the end of the day, what are you doing? You're knocking a hole in a piece of cardboard, so it's perfectly sufficient. If you try to get it any more, obviously with that cocking link angle and everything, it would just become increasingly hard. And as I said already, it was noted at the time, if you're doing a full match, that's quite a lot of effort for 60 or 70 shots. Production dates for these, 1973 through to 1985. So a good long production run. And they were used quite a lot as a single stroke pneumatic, fully contained target pistol, probably more aimed at the training market for the Walther products, so the GSP, OSP, and the earlier Walther products there that you had. So that's more of a target pistol kind of shape, and the balance with it being kind of more in your hand, definitely kind of aiming more towards that market. So good things about it, it's a single stroke pneumatic, it's very accurate, very good quality barrel, it looks very nice. Less good bits, quite a lot of effort to cock it. There is definitely a technique to it. If you've got the technique and you're not trying to do it under a camera, it's much easier. The grip is good, but you can't really alter it very much. So this is the wooden grip, the target grip for the time, because with that flare at the bottom is very good and very comfortable and very supportive. But if it doesn't fit you, you're going to struggle, because there's not a lot of wood. As you can see there's not a lot of wood in there to be carving it around very much. So there you go. The Walther LP3, a single stroke pneumatic pistol. Definitely worth getting one if you can. If you've got any DIY skills, they are repairable. If it's not working when you get it, definitely haggle on the price. So I like it. If you get the chance, try one. They're a really interesting pistol to shoot, and being totally recoilless, they're very rewarding to practice with. If you've liked this, then please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all the YouTubey stuff. And otherwise, I'll see you again soon with another pistol. Thanks very much. Bye.